Thanks everyone for joining today. We're really excited to be here with you to share a little bit more about our new visual builder experience and excited to kick things off and just share a little bit about some of my colleagues here but we're joined by our director of product, John Kelly, and then one of our solutions engineers, Brady Brown. And then my name is Brandon Eccles. I'm on our product marketing team and get to work closely with our visual builder experience. And excited to go into some of the things that we're going to be talking about today. Uh, like you said, share some of who we are, and then we're going to go into some of the challenges and things that give you a little bit of context and narrative of how we kind of got here. And then we'll kind of go into a little bit about, I'll give you a little intro into what the experience is. And then I'm going to pass it over to Brady, who's going to give us a live demo of the experience. And then we have some kind of what's next takeaways here. And then we'll go into any questions that you have. And going into that, just want to remind everyone that we are recording this webinar and it will be sent out to all the registrants afterwards. And also throughout the webinar, we want to make sure and get all your questions answered. So submit those down below and we'll be sure and address those. And if it makes sense, answer them in the moment or save them for the end. And so with that, I want to kick it over to John.
Yep, thanks, Brandon. And hi, everyone. It's great to be here today. Thanks for your time and attention. So when we think about the concept of really headless and composable technologies, it's important to note that the headless evolution or revolution, depending on how you perceive time, was really an exploration in technology, not an exploration in business user experiences. That's important to note because if you think about kind of how the pendulum has swung back and forth through the different sort of eras or epochs of headless technology and really of content management generally over time. This is really a swing, a pendulum swing over to the developer themselves. And in that process, the marketing teams, the business users really lost out on quite a bit of functionality that was built pretty bespoke for them over, frankly, a decade or more over time. But where we're kind of focused on and why that's really important to note is really that it was a zero-sum game. But functionally, as we kind of take that into account and we look towards what's next for composable, that's really led us to really kind of ensure that we're providing the best experience for developers, along with, of course, the best experience for business teams and making sure that we bring back some of that kind of core visual capability into their workflows. Awesome. So just going through a handful of challenges that kind of, are underlying a lot of the work that we're doing here. The first one is, of course, that the sort of rigid nature of the templates and the content models and content types and however you think about the ultimate schemas or the structure of the data in a composable world in a headless system are quite rigid. Right? They're pretty limited in the sense that if you do want to go outside those bounds, of course, you have to raise another ticket with your IT team, talk to a developer. It really hasn't done much to satisfy the promise made in early days of headless, where you're trying to decouple the marketing activities from the developer activities. So they're still very much intertwined. And so that leaves the content editors with a pretty massive constraint there. And so, of course, over time, Contentstack, we've built in capabilities to help ease this with things like our modular blocks capabilities, with things like our some multiple selections on types of fields, which kind of help make it a bit more dynamic. But ultimately, still, it did feel fairly rigid. Also, it's pretty difficult at times when you're working in a form-based experience to make really rapid, quick edits and updates, right? Because where you are typically looking is on some visual representation of your website, your application. You sort of know exactly where you need to go, but actually linking that and mapping that intuitively in your head into an individual field within this lengthy form, again, this can be a little bit cumbersome and a little bit difficult to sort of make that connection pretty quickly. So by actually ensuring that we have a more visual experience in the CMS, that's kind of really where it's going to help make the connection for what I'm seeing in the wild and the edit I need to make directly in the system. And thirdly, really ultimately what we're always striving towards with the marketing teams is providing both confidence and clarity. So the clarity of purpose, basically ensuring that the tasks that need to be done are really clearly defined, clearly laid out. Teams can quickly and easily access the data they need to get access to, and then the confidence that the changes they're making, the work they're doing, actually is going to result in an outcome that they expect. And so in this case, really helping to solve for the current in most current sort of non-visual composable systems, lack of visibility is really what's made us work to drive towards a more visual experience within Contentstack. And back to you, Brandon.
Thanks. And so it's a great background there, John, and kind of leads to like really where we're at today, right? And what we're ultimately trying to help here is helping kind of marketers see within this new headless world, right? And that's where we get into what Visual Builder is and all that it offers. And like I said, we're going to go into a live demo of this that Brady's going to offer here. So I'm just going to go through some of the core features here that we're going to then go into the actual demo of here in a bit. But just to give you some context and what we're going to be seeing here. But like John alluded to, moving backwards here. But these challenges that we had, we're now solving for, right? We're creating layouts for that allow for all these different types of content experiences, right? We're not limited to any of these rigid templates. And we have a kind of more intuitive inline editing experience that allows us to do it right on the page, see what's happening, which ultimately gives you kind of that real context into what your content will look like when it's live, whether it's now or we need to see what it might look like in the future based on updates or other things that might be happening. And that's kind of what we have here in the visual builder and timeline experiences, which allow you to kind of preview and see how that content will look based on any of the releases you have coming up, see how those changes compare side by side, make it really easy to review and review changes before they go live. Also, with our new personalized product, you're able to step into the shoes of your audience segments, and by selecting different audience segments and satisfying those criteria, you can see how different experiences will change based on those personalized personalized audience segments you have. And then going back to kind of just the core part of being able to build and edit visually on a intuitive canvas. This is the live editing where you can come in and swap out images, swap out text intuitively without having like either a form-based editor or anything like that. Can do it right within the context of the page. Adding sections or building in new layouts is now much more intuitive and feasible. And then all of that's still controlled and governed within the workflows and permissions and things like that that you have set up, so that only the appropriate people can control and edit what is necessary. And we've been really privileged to have some great customers who are experiencing a lot of value and benefit with Visual Builder and are seeing some of the things that it's allowing them to do and their marketing teams, the power and tools that it's equipping their marketing teams with. All right, so I'm going to pass it over to Brady, the most exciting part of this demo, or of this demo here, and we'll jump into it.
Sorry about that. I completely lost the Zoom bar. Um,
You can jump around, honey. We know that.
so I should be sharing my screen now. So what we should be looking at is exploring the vineyards. Taking a ride on the wine train. Can we see this? Or no? Oh, I see. I still have the share button. Let's see. Share desktop too. Looks like it didn't take.
We see it.
You see it now?
Yep.
Okay. I've never used Zoom before. So right. To get started, like Brandon mentioned, the first part of this visual experience, it's all housed in this unified view here. The first part of it is actually live in the product today, and that's Timeline. Timeline is essentially a feature that is fully integrated with our releases functionality. A release is basically a bundle of content that's going live for a promotion or a sale. Think about a set of pages, a set of assets, updates that all need to go live in tandem. That's what releases offer. So what we get with this timeline view is actually the ability to preview your site on different dates with essentially that updated content overlaid. So, I have a lot to look at here, but really the bulk of it is on this timeline view up here. So here I can see I have one release currently scheduled going live on October 31st. So I can not only preview what this is going to look like once this content goes live, but I can actually compare this site with my content that's live today. So you can see we have a really cool Diwali promotion going on here. I can highlight the differences between these two pages so I can see exactly what's different. And I can also, I can toggle everything that, you expect to be able to hear from previewing different languages to different, different personalized segments, which is something that we'll get into a little bit later, toggling different views for different device types and, different viewports and all of that sort of stuff. Again, this is actually live in the product today. So that's the timeline
Brady.
portion of this visual experience. Now, the second part of this visual builder is really the meat and potatoes, and that's the builder component, right? So um, the builder is essentially a more unified view for editors. So we have a really great preview system in Contentstack today, but it doesn't quite scratch that itch of working in a page builder, right? A really unified experience where I can just select, select some text, take out what I want to take out, and add in new text just with with a keystroke, right? Um, in the US, right? I'm not a marketer, right? So my content is not super creative, but I'm able to do everything that you'd expect to be able to do in here from toggling text. If I were using a rich text field, I would be able to, embolden or italicize this text. I can switch out any of these assets as well. And this also extends to a lot of the other aspects of our platform, right? So John had mentioned some other ways that we, have already enhanced the editor experience in Contentstack, such as modular blocks, which is the ability to, if I pop open this form, you can see sort of the componentized view of this page that I have here. Modular blocks are essentially a way to componentize these pages. I can drag and drop these components around the page. I can reorder them. If you look at these cards, I can even reorder these cards, get really down into the nitty gritty, right? Control the look, the feel, the structure of this page as well as the content. And this is also fully integrated with our system of comments and discussions. So we can leave comments on any of these fields. That's got an integrated tagging feature, so I can tag either individual users or users by role. I can have my admin log in and take a look at the text that I've been creating, or the changes that I'm making. Of course, we version everything automatically. And this is also going to be fully integrated with Personalize. Personalize is a feature that allows you to target specific audiences as well as to run A/B tests. And that's fully integrated here as well. It actually just rolled out into early access. So here I have my audiences drop down here. So let's say, I want to preview this page for somebody who is traveling on a budget. Let me just exit anyways. We don't need to save that. So, somebody who's traveling on a budget, who's interested in maybe a South American destination and is interested in adventure, right? So here you can see I have hit all of the sort of required aspects to feed me into a specific audience. And if I, jump into the actual segmented experience here, you can see exactly what's different between this version and what we would call the base version of this page, right? So here is specific content going off to specific audience users. So I can not only preview and essentially impersonate users of a specific audience, but I can, again, change any of this text, switch out any of these assets, and really tailor this to users of this audience that we're trying to target here. Now, really, the third and final portion of this demo is about our integration with our AI assistant, right? So one thing I'll also call out before we jump into that is I am also able to create new pages in here, right? So let's actually get out of this personalized view. I'll just create a new article, let's say. This will be, experience Oktoberfest. All right. So here we've got a brand new article. So this is basically the blank canvas, and now I can start adding components onto this page. So I can add an asset from our asset manager. I think I have an Oktoberfest image ready to go. I can also, talking more about our AI capabilities, right? We have an AI assistant in Contentstack, and this is live in the product today. But we do have this fully integrated with our visual builder, right? So, this is really, an editor's assistant, right? So I can use this to either generate content. Hey, you know what? I want you to write me a quick paragraph promoting a trip to Oktoberfest. You can see that populate there. Um, we have this really cool brainstorm option as well, and this is new. So, we can see the text that it generated initially, and this is basically that prompting experience that you get with working with an LLM, right? So I can say, can you make this more exciting? You can see what it comes up with here. Get ready to raise your stein. Sorry, it's got some emojis in there. I like this. I like the direction this is going in, right? So we can add that, and there's a lot of functionality with this AI assistant. It's fully integrated with our brand kit, which is the ability to generate content, again, for specific audiences, or if you have any sort of internal voice profiles to your organization, this is the ability to sort of generate content for those. You can also optimize text. You can change the tone. So maybe I want to say, hey, make this more friendly, right? And we can see what it comes up with here. Still got the emojis in there, so I think that's good to go. And again, I can preview this for different audiences. I can go ahead and save this. I can start a discussion with my coworkers. I can use Contentstack's really excellent intuitive workflows and permissions to sort of move this forward down the chain to get this new Oktoberfest article live on the site. Now, I think that was the bulk of what I was trying to cover in the demo here today. Take a look at the chat.
Yeah, we have a few
See
questions I think
if,
that are
yeah.
like a little bit relevant to what we're kind of going through. So um, w- there's one question here is, can pages be built with both Visual Builder and through our standard templates, and or do we need to choose one or the other? And I think
Mhm.
what the answer there is that these are separate experiences, but based on your existing content types. So you can use either
Yes.
experience, right?
Yeah, you're working with the content types and components, modular blocks that you already have in your Contentstack account.
Just a visual way to work with them, the exact
Mhm.
same ones that you already have. Yes. The next one here is, can we utilize our existing components, or would we be limited to the components that Contentstack has built out
Mhm.
for Visual Builder? And I think
Yeah,
what
so
we
this is, yep, again, right. So what we're looking at here is a specific demo instance of Contentstack that we've been using to show off this product, right? So this is a specific sort of travel style site. Um, so the experience that you see in here, you're unlimited, or you're not limited in terms of the types of templates or experiences that you'll be able to create. It's all up to you.
And then another question here, does Page Builder support references? And the answer
Mhm,
is yes.
mhm. Yep. Yeah, I'm not sure that I have. This is maybe a miss on our demo site, but I'm not sure I have a page with a reference in it. But yeah, it's fully integrated as well. So if this banner were a reference, I would be able to pop open this banner essentially in a modal and move between the page and the reference and make updates.
And then can we compare two experiences that each belong to different audiences?
Yes, I believe we have the ability to compare audiences side by side, or at least compare the base version with a specific audience. I'm not sure that I remember how to do it offhand, but I
I thought
do
that was
believe
one
I've
I
seen
was
it.
going to double check on, that if it's within the website comparison, but I don't know if you were able to select them. That was when I was going to have to
Mm,
go back and look at them, but we can make sure and
yeah,
get a better answer to that. Um,
fair.
We're going to go into, I want to make sure we get to some of these. There's some questions here related to when this will be available, and we're going to go into some
Mhm.
of those questions here after this, but I want to make sure we address any of the questions that kind of related to the experience here. There's another one here that says users would have the ability to update and change layouts. Uh, to make sure I understand this correctly. So I think what we're asking here is, how does the editor or creator change a layout? How does an implementer configure the layout regions sections that can be used? So this is, I think what Brady was saying here earlier is that this is using your existing content blocks, the ones that your developers have created. And so as they are defined, can be added here on this canvas as new content blocks, either just the standard ones or ones you've defined or built yourselves. I'm going to hope that answers that question, but Brady, I don't know if you can add any context there, but
Yeah, no, I think you hit it.
um, what data is being pulled in to determine the audience filters? Well, I think this is being pulled in from personalized from uh, your uh, audience, your audience's details there, but that data can ultimately be pulled in from other places as well if you have it connected, like through a CDP or something like that. Okay, we are coming up on time here, so and then we're getting bombarded with questions right now. So we'll try and make sure. I'm going to go back to the screen share if that's all right, and then we'll just make sure we get some of these questions answered, and then see what else we can answer with the time left. Okay, this will be coming on October 24th, and details about how to get started and the documentation to get set up will be shared in some of our follow-up communication along with the recording and everything. We'll have some other emails that are going out along with this on this date to that provide those helpful links as well. They'll also be published on our documentations on our developer documentation, all the associated articles to get set up. What you will need in order to use Visual Builder is access to live preview. Um, if you do not have access to live preview, you can reach out to your CSM, but I believe the majority of people, majority of customers have access to it. They'll just need to access some of the documentation to get set up, follow a few simple steps. And then coming next, just some of the things that we're working on, preview sharing, being able to share external links out so that non-Contentstack users can still check in, review, and review your content. With that, go back to our questions here and see if we can get some more of these answered. So I think one of the first ones here was, how do we go about requesting getting access to this? Like I said, if you have access to live preview already, then this is something that you will automatically be enabled for you. You'll just have to follow a few simple steps to get it set up. Going down to, will Visual Builder feature be a built-in option, or is it a feature that will need to opt into at additional cost? Like I said, if you have access to live preview, there is no additional cost. It is included. And I believe if you have access to the business enablement package, this is what gives you access to live preview if you're unsure. Can you talk about layouts? I know we're coming up on here on time. We'll try and answer as many as we can. We'll stay on for a couple more minutes, see if we can answer the majority of these. But if you feel like you didn't get your question answered, please reach out to us. We'd be more than happy to get in touch with you and get you the right answers. Can you talk about layouts, modifying or creating new layouts? Brady, I think we showed there, like if you want, adding or building a page from scratch is as simple as either hovering between content blocks and adding new content on an existing page, or at the top you can create a new layout or new page from scratch. from the existing content types that you have set up.
Yep, correct.
Okay. Nicole, can you toggle back and forth from visual experience to the existing experience? Yes, the visual experience is a separate experience from the entry editor. If you are making a change in Visual Builder that is a reference field, does it alert you of the references? Ooh, that would be one I have to.
Yeah, I would have to follow up on that since it's just not an our demo environment. Yeah.
I see a name on this one though, so yeah, I'll follow up. I'll make the note here and see if we can get you an answer, Robin. Does the real-time editing on the page, for example, editing the headline, require JavaScript components to build the page?
Well, so these would be using it's essentially using components that you already have on your front end. Since we're a headless CMS, all of the JavaScript and the front end code live outside of our tool. But you would essentially what you're doing is tying Contentstack content into those components.
Thank you, Brady. I have a page content type that is composed of references. It's composed of referenced entries from several other content types instead of modular blocks. Is Visual Builder usable with referenced entries?
Yes,
Yes.
it is usable with references. Yes.
Great.
Brandon, I think we're at time here.
Yeah. I see there are a lot of people sticking around. I'm happy to answer questions for a few more minutes. If people need to jump, I understand. I'll stay on and answer as many questions as I can. As long as I see we still have a whole bunch of people on, so I'm going to try and get some of these questions answered. But yeah, if anyone needs to jump, understandable because we are at time. Are there any limitations we should be aware of, such as incompatibility with modular blocks, validation, etc.? To my knowledge, I haven't been made aware of anything like that. I think we're trying to create feature parity there. How would videos work in the live panel? Would we need to update, or would we need to upload the MP4, or can a YouTube link be used and have it populate? Again, depending on how you have it set up, it can be whatever. If it's a global field that just takes a URL, a YouTube or a Vimeo URL or something like that, it could be. But it could also be some kind of like rich text field where you're inserting an.
Yeah, it depends on how you want the video to display. This is most of our customers use one of our pre-built integrations with YouTube, Vimeo, or Brightcove, video streaming platforms. But we have that out of the box, right? So that's just a custom field you would install in our marketplace, and that works out of the box with Visual Builder as well.
Can you make REST API calls to get content from other CRM systems into Visual Builder? Yes. Well, in theory, because you can reference. I'm making some assumptions here, I think, but you do have API access to everything. Again, I think what I'm trying to understand there is if we're trying to make changes through just the visual experience through API or just changes to content in general. But you do have access to both references and to connect to external data. So Brady, I don't know if you can elaborate there or.
I think I would need to know more about the use
Yeah.
case.
Yeah. How can multiple editors in a multi-market setup work on the same page? Can one editor mess with the work of another when adding, removing content blocks? I think this is something that we're still working on, is like either co-editing or multi-user editing. I don't know that I have a
Yeah,
clear answer there.
typically you would tamp down access to an entry using workflows and user roles to avoid that, as you're describing it, right, like the mess of multiple editors working on the same page. But we do have presence indicators and we do have alerts for that display to users if another user logs in and makes a change to their content.
There are also branches and variants of ways that you can edit your own versions of content that, right. So I think call that one answered. This may be more of a technical question. Is the UI front-end component required to have some sort of adapter to be able to react to the page builder live changes? Is there any documentation on that? Thanks. I know someone who does know the answer to this, because I know there's someone who's been was working around on this specifically. So Federico, I'm going to make a note here. I think I can get you a better answer. But I do not know that one off the top of my head, but I know there's someone who's been trying to tinker around with that, and I think maybe they have a solution. What language or framework do the templates use?
It's
The
it's completely independent. We're compatible with any front end framework. We're agnostic from that perspective.
thought that's what that was asking, but can you elaborate deployment on different versions of the same components in development and QA environments?
Yes, we have an environments feature out of the box with Contentstack, so you can create your own dev, QA, pre-prod, prod environments and promote content up through those environments just by hitting the publish button.
Okay. Let's see, we have just a couple more here. If in-house developers made customized blocks, could those blocks be used? Yes. Will it be available in partner sandbox environments? I'm going to say yes. Believe it'll be available in all environments, so I'm going to say yes. Do you save changes done on Visual Builder directly on the page, or do you need to go back to the entry view? You can save directly from the visual building experience. Can we call REST APIs and display some dynamic values in between some heading or description? Yes. Can we create contact from such? Can we create content such as input checkbox for you? Yes. You can still, you still have access to define those global fields the way you want. Give them the inputs, the properties to configure those fields the way you see fit. That is all the questions. I think we got hopefully we got them answered to the best of our abilities. If I think there's a few I'm going to follow up on, hopefully get you better answers. But we are really grateful for everyone joining today, and excited to be able to share this with you next week. If you have questions, please reach out. We're here to help, and we will see you next month.